What's happening, people? Welcome back to the show. Back again, 10 p.m. for a late night roundup. Today's been a bit mad. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to everybody, including my dad, of course, and all you dads out there doing an amazing job. I hope you've had a great weekend. It's been a bit of a strange one weather-wise, I can't lie. Finally, the rain has set in, which I hope has not ruined too many of your barbecues or food or days or whatever it be. But it was quite nice. I've had a great time in my family, and I hope you've all had a good time with yours. Some news, to be honest, last few hours. Arsenal just seem to be talked about every single day at the moment. And as an Arsenal fan, it's only makes sense to start with them. But there's been some other clubs at the moment that have some of their players and their teams in the news. We're going to be talking about Thomas Partey. We're going to be talking about some of the players that might be outgoing at Arsenal. We're going to be talking about links with Lokonga, links with Kieran Tierney, and some of the other players that might be looking at moves. Also, looking at who is on their way to Saudi Arabia. The Saudis coming in and they are literally taking things seriously. They are going for big players. They're going for names which I was not going to be expecting, if I'm honest with you. Anybody, it seems, touching 30 and above, they're going for them. And they're paying them a lot of money. Trust me, it's absolutely mad. Thank you all so much for getting me over 9K last night. My next target, of course, is 10K, the big one. Made about 240, 250 subscribers last night. If we can hit anywhere near to that, again, we'll be well on our way to 10K, people. So thank you all so much for doing that. Like, subscribe if you're new. If you do want to join as a member, you can do. But of course, the most important thing for me is that you're liking and subscribing. That's all that I care about right now. Big up the chat. Make sure if you have any questions for me, put a big Q at the start so that I know exactly that it's a question and I can bring them up and I can start starring them and I'll answer as many as I can. Let's start with Thomas Partey. If the rumors are to be true, we are looking to sell Thomas Partey. That makes no sense to me. I'm going to be real. Off from the off, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I tell you why. We're trying to strengthen our squad, not replace like for like. Now, people will say to me that Caicedo, Rice, Lavia, all these names we've been thrown out, that some we may get, some we won't, are great signings. And I would agree with that. The only great signings, though, if you're going to keep the players like Thomas Partey that you've got in your midfield. I have no qualms about Lokonga leaving. I have no qualms about Elneny not being given his final year, even though he has been. Wouldn't bother me if he went. Wouldn't bother me if Jorginho doesn't stay. But it would bother me if Thomas Partey doesn't stay. Now, there's rumours of Granit Xhaka leaving already. Yeah? Looks like he's probably going to go back to Germany. Why the hell are we getting rid of Thomas Partey as well then? Because it sounds to me as if two are going out now and two are coming in. So I know that we've put in offers for 3 players. It looks like those 3 players are Havertz, Rice, and Gundogan. Gundogan's decided on what he wants to do. Is he going to come and fancy a move to London? Is he going to stay at Man City? Or is he going to fancy a move, like the rumours are, and go over to Barcelona or back to Germany? So for me, that one is completely up in the air. God only knows what's happening with Gundogan. Then you look at the Rice situation. The second bid hasn't gone in yet. From what West Ham sources confirm, we're quite a way away from where we want to be in terms of how much money we're prepared to offer West Ham up front, which means that one's not going to be over the line by tomorrow. The Havertz one, we're looking to prepare a second bid, and I believe we're going to be prepared to pay up to 60 million. Lavia, the rumour is 40 million. The reason it's 40 million is because City have a buyback clause which they can't release until 2024, and it's 40 million, which means that Southampton are going to keep hold of him until somebody else comes in with 40 million. Otherwise, they're going to let him go back to City for 40 million the following season, if, of course, Manchester City want him. So that's going to be 100 million on Havertz and Lavia and 100 million on Rice. Now, that's good because Arsenal are spending finally, and we're spending proper money. But if we're going to be spending that much money on our midfield, but letting Partey and Granit Xhaka go, that's basically 2 first teams they're letting go. So we're going to need 2 or 3 midfielders, aren't we? Because if Thomas Partey's being told he can leave and Granit Xhaka's being told he can go, what are Jorginho and Elneny still doing here? Shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't it be Elneny and Jorginho that we should be letting leave for other clubs and keeping Partey and Xhaka on top of, let's say, Rice and Lavia? I don't quite understand this. This for me is just not making any sense. I hope it's a rumor that is just going to be swashed under the carpet, but Romano is saying that we're really open to allowing Thomas Partey to leave. So then I start to look at it and think, what is it? What is it that we want to sell Partey for? Now, there could be that we can get some money for him because he's got 2 years left on his deal. There's no talk of any extension. Looks like his contract's up in 2025. And if he doesn't want to sign for me this year, then we can talk about next summer. But we cannot sell Thomas Partey. We just can't do that, in my opinion. So this is what I think. Perhaps there's some off the field problems. Perhaps there is. Perhaps there's off the field problems that we don't know about. Perhaps there's off the field problems that's in the news that I don't want to go into because of the politics of them, that perhaps we just don't fancy. Or maybe Saudis are really interested and it's an opportunity for us to get some serious money for a 30-year-old defensive midfielder who, by the way, I think is quality, but you're probably not going to get that much for him from the other clubs. So why would we want to sell Thomas Partey? I really don't know. I think for 3/4 of the season, 32 games of the Premier League season, plus the cups and everything else that went along with it, he was one of our best players. Brilliant, superb, consistent, scored a couple of bangers from outside. Honestly, I really do believe this would be a mistake. I think Thomas Partey was being compared to Rodri and Casemiro this season. Why? Because he's top quality. So if we're just going to go, yeah, Partey can go, Xhaka can go, Rice and Lavia are in town, would we say that was a massive upgrade on our midfield of last season? I would say Rice is an unbelievable upgrade on Granit Xhaka. Is Lavia an upgrade on Thomas Partey? Would Caicedo be an upgrade on Thomas Partey? I don't think either of those have done a half of what Thomas Partey has done in the world of football, in my opinion. Playing for the clubs that he has done and driving teams forward the way he has, I don't really see why we need to do this. Like, for me, has to be a starter still at the moment, the way I look at it. So when people say, on one hand, he's as good as Casemiro and Rodri this season, and then on the other hand, the same person says, yeah, we can sell him, that ain't compatible for me. Which one is it? Because if he's as good as Casemiro and Rodri, like some of the Arsenal fans who have, we should be trying to do everything we can to keep this guy. I think he's 29. He's touching 30. So along with Granit Xhaka, they're both the similar age and will probably bring the only experience we have, if I'm honest, to the squad. So losing two key individuals in your first team and the experience of the team as well would be a massive risk to replace that with a 24-year-old and a 19-year-old. I don't really see how that is. I just don't see how that's good business. I really don't. I really don't. But let me know what you think in the chat. Would you sell Thomas Partey? Do you think he's one of our best players in the first 11? Do you think we'd be massively missing him? Do you think Xhaka and Partey is better than Rice and Lavia? I'd love to get your thoughts. I really would, because I would suggest that Rice is an unbelievable signing and that Lavia is a good signing. But together, are they as good as what Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka are? I would say we're not really upgrading both positions there. I'd say we're upgrading one. So for me, Partey, if I had it my way, Partey and Xhaka would both stay. But it looks like Xhaka wants to go. When a player wants to go, you've got to get rid of him. You can't keep him around. For me, it has to be Thomas Partey staying. Now, listen, if these Saudis are going to come in and say, here's 60 million, then, of course, Mikel Arteta, I imagine, will consider that and go, do you know what? Let's see. Let's see. I do feel that it would take that much for Arsenal fans to start to change their minds. I don't want to sell Thomas Partey for 30 million. We bought him for 50. If, the likes of Mount and Havertz and all these guys are being spoken about, if Neves has gone today, which we'll touch on, for the amount he has, then we've got to be looking at getting our money back at least for Thomas Partey, maybe if not more. It's crazy. The market is mad. I don't even want to go into it too much. But let me know in the chat, what would you do about Thomas Partey? It sounds crazy to me. It sounds really mad. Sticking with Arsenal, some of the rumours I saw today, not from any amazing sources, but there are rumours, of course, that Lokonga is wanted on loan. Now, this is a strange one for me because I believe he's just not going to be good enough in an Arsenal shirt. He didn't look outstanding for Palace. He didn't look good enough, certainly for Arsenal in the League Cup, Europa League games that he was playing. So for me, I think it needs to be a sold player. but it looks like it can be a lone player. Now, Burnley are showing interest, and this is an interesting one. This is a player I knew would be linked with this club because of Vincent Kompany. Now, Vincent Kompany, if you remember when he was at Anderlecht, knew the player well, being a Belgium international himself, but also quoted him as the potential to be the next Yaya Toure. Now, all Gooners will know that that is just not the case from what we've seen with our own eyes. This guy does not look anything like that sort of player. For me, he has an anchor in midfield that can kind of keep the ball and spray it forward. I don't really think he's a great tackler. I saw him at Old Trafford. He was poor. He made 0 tackles. I don't really think he's a player that can get around the pitch too much. I don't really see a drive forward of a box-to-box player. I don't really see someone who anchors the midfield and just keeps it steady like Jorginho. I just don't think he's ready. Now, he might be a good player in years to come, but for me, he's nothing like a Yaya Toure, Patrick Vieira, Michael Essien, those names. Nothing like that for me. But if anybody can get the best out of him, maybe it's Vincent Kompany. And maybe it would be a good signing on loan to Burnley. We have to watch that one and see what happens. But Patrick Vieira signed him at Palace. I know it didn't work out for Vieira, but Roy Hodgson didn't really fancy him. He didn't really do anything to pull up any trees at Crystal Palace. He's come back to Arsenal now, and it looks like he's going to be on the move. And I'll be very surprised if Kompany don't offer Arsenal some form of package for Lokonga, whether it be a loan deal with an obligation to buy or an option to buy. Maybe that's the case. Kieran Tierney. Let's talk about Kieran Tierney because for me, I'll be gutted if he goes. Real talk. I've got to be honest with you. I would be absolutely gutted if Kieran Tierney left Arsenal. I love everything about the player, off and on the pitch. I know he can't play the inverted role, but we were never bought him to play an inverted role. And it really makes me frustrated when I see him trying to play the inverted role, being told by Arteta to try and play the left inverted role when really we should just let Ben White do that and keep Kieran Tierney playing as a left back and switch it. But that didn't work. Kieran Tierney is a great defender. Kieran Tierney is good going forward. Kieran Tierney is old school, will actually cross the ball. The frustrating thing is most of the time, he ain't got anybody in there, certainly that's got any height. But Kieran Tierney is a good option. I would love to keep him. The reason I'm talking about Tierney is not because he's been linked with moves away. He's actually been linked today with potential of staying at Arsenal now. And I read this earlier, a tweet come out saying that he was probably going to have more likelihood of staying at Arsenal due to Newcastle looking at other options. Now, I don't know if Newcastle have looked at Kieran Tierney's record in terms of his injuries, and that's put him off. I don't know if there's an option for perhaps Newcastle looking elsewhere at other targets. And there was a rumor today that they're looking at Cucurella. Now, Chelsea, by the way, are getting rid of everyone. It is literally everybody's up for sale apart from Enzo Fernandez. That's what it seems like to me. There's nobody that any of the teams would go near to Chelsea and they would say he's not for sale. Have Mount, have Gallagher, have Havertz, have Koulibaly now we're hearing today, have Cucurella we're hearing today, have Aspilicueta, have both of our goalkeepers. You can take Aubameyang, you can have Ziyech, you can have Pulisic. Wow. I mean, wow, we're talking about 14, 15 players leaving Chelsea here. It's absolutely scary. So that's the way I see it right now. So if Cucurella is going to be bought for 60 and sold for 30 to 35, like is being the rumors, I'll be absolutely amazed. Absolutely amazed. I can't believe what I'm hearing, like if that is true. So Kieran Tierney, good news. As for Arsenal's sake, I think most Gooners want to keep him. He's a great cover for left back, and if we do sell him, we've got to go and replace him. So I'd rather just keep Kieran Tierney. A lot of people will say that Tomiyasu can play there, and I would agree that he can. But if we've got our right back out and our left back out, then Tomiyasu, what one does he go to? So we're going to need to either keep Tierney or replace him if we do sell him. I would keep him. I love everything about Kieran Tierney, man. I think he's a quality player. I think his leadership qualities are there. He's got winning mentality. And I believe that he will be looked at, if he does stay at Arsenal, as a fan favourite still. And I do believe that he can force his way back into this side. I don't think Zinchenko's, with the 4 competitions that we've got now, is nailed down to play 45 games this season. I think Kieran Tierney can play a lot of games. Big up Gunnar Lee in the chat. Big up, bro. Hope you're well. Says KT staying my captain. I love KT. Always so says smash the likes, people. Big up. Make sure you go over to check out Gunnar Lee as well. Subscribe to him and please smash a like and subscribe here as well and help me get to 10k. That would be amazing, people. So that's Arsenal, right? That is Arsenal. Make sure you put your questions in the chat. Make sure you put a queue. I've started some of them, so I will be coming back to them, and I'll definitely come to your guys' chats as well. So make sure that you do that. Let's talk about this Saudi Arabia stuff because for me, it is taking over big time. Now, people were laughing at it, saying that when Ronaldo went there, it's just basically for the money and it's going in the direction of that for people that get to 35 plus that go there. Today, we're seeing younger players go. We've seen Kante go now. We've seen Benzema go now that's followed Ronaldo there. Now we're looking at Koulibaly could potentially be going there from Chelsea. They're trying to wrap this deal up. But the one that shocked me today, Ruben Neves. 1 year on his contract. £47 million. I say good deal for Wolves, don't we? One of my guys, Little Dan from this channel, big Wolves fan. He says, yeah, I'll take that. I love Neves, one of our best players. With a year left on the contract, we're going to be getting 47 million for him. They're not going to get that in the Premier League. With a year left, you're looking at Ruben Neves. A lot of people are going to be paying less than that for him and expecting Wolves to say yes to it. Now, Wolves have got some problems with financial fair play, apparently. So big deals like that, they can't really afford to turn down. But this one is a mad one as far as Neves is concerned. Neves, I don't even know how old he is, if I'm honest with you. So maybe someone can tell me in the chat, or maybe I'll have a quick look now, actually. Ruben Neves, how old is he? Let's have a look. 26 years old. He's 26 and he's going over there. That is mad. Mad, mad, mad. I can't believe that. I was so shocked when I heard it. I knew that he was potential to leave Wolves this summer with only having a year left, but I really thought potential Manchester United's. I thought Chelsea maybe. I thought that we might look at a plan B option if we weren't going to go for somebody like Lavia, who's now potentially the option. I honestly, honestly was shocked. And this is the problem. We're looking now at Pepe and Partey and some of the others that are being told, you know what? These guys might be going over there as well. So Ronaldo was quoted last week as saying, Saudi, that league is going to be in the top 4 or 5 in the world in the next few years. Maybe he's right. When people laughed at it, maybe he's right because the amount of names that are going over there, wow, it's scary. So let's take some of your questions. Let's go for this one first as it's a super chat. If you want to throw a super chat in, you go up to the queue. There we go. Gunner Roller, top lad. Thank you so, so much. If we're selling Partey because of the Saudi money, then surely we can splash on Caicedo along with Rice and Lavia or Gondwan. No excuses. Big up, man. I think that is a great shout. If we're going to get serious money for Xhaka and Partey, there is no reason why we can't look at all of these guys coming in then. If you want to completely revamp and rebuild our midfield, if Partey and Xhaka are out and you want to keep Jorginho and El Neni, then that means you need Rice, you need Lavia, you need Gundogan or Caicedo as well. You need 3. We cannot be looking at going replace for replace. We need 3 midfielders if we're going to get rid of 2. That's what I think. So Gundogan, I don't see it. I think he'll choose everybody, a couple of options other than Arsenal. Lavia, I could see it happening. Caicedo, for me, I think if it was going to happen, I think we'd be in advanced talks by now because this is the guy that we wanted in January. But Gonnarola is absolutely right, man. We do need that. So fair play to you, man. Andrew, big up, says, I said weeks ago, Edu and his entourage will potentially mess this. Massive pressure on Edu and on Mikel Arteta. Massive, massive pressure. I'm sorry, there is. There's huge, huge pressure because the both of them need to get these deals right. Now, I'm going to sit there and lose my head because we're 4 or 5 days into the window and it ain't signed anyone yet. But I hope they know how much pressure's on them. They need to get this right because there's a lot of people questioning, particularly Edu, about his plan A targets and the fact that he can't get him over the line. So when we linked with Rice and Caicedo and now Lavia and we linked with Gundawans, if they're the guys we want, they need to be coming over the line. So there's a lot of pressure. Big up, Andrew. CS says, do you rate Everton Zonana? I do. I really like him, actually. He wouldn't be my first choice. He would be one of my options if one of the others weren't to come to fruition. So if we weren't able to get Caicedo, if the Lavia deal was, City come in and get their clause back, or whatever it be, or they just want him. If those two do not go, I would probably have gone Neves or Onana next, if I'm honest with you. But I'll be frustrated with that because for me, they're just nowhere near the quality of what we're seeing of the likes of Rice and Caicedo, for example. But good shout, man. Good shout. Andrew's come up again and says Holding needs to go too. Kieran Tierney should play left back and Zinchenko moved into midfield. I'm a huge fan of what Kieran Tierney and Zinchenko both do. I think their attributes are superb for what Arsenal need. I think Zinchenko on the ball is superb, and I think Kieran Tierney defending is absolutely spot on. But like you say, Rob Holding, that's one. That's one that now needs to go. I'm sorry, like that is one that needs to go for me. I don't know why he's still here. That is the sort of player that has done a job in the past, but has also done a bad job in the past as well. I don't think personally we could look at holding on to players like Rob Holding anymore. I think those days are done. Like we cannot be affording to bring on the likes of Eddie and Ketia, of Rob Holding, of El Neni, of these players just can't do it for me. We need to be moving past those days. So for me, that's what we need to look to do. Big up Andrew. Daniela, big up Daniela. I think West Ham fan says, Dan, did you see the fan the United stand? This in Declan Rice trying to convince the world they could do a Rice Maguire swap. No, I didn't, but he sounds like an absolute fool who doesn't know anything about football. So no, I did not see that at all. So I can't comment. But there's a lot of people at the moment that are having a lot of opinion about Declan Rice to Arsenal. Some saying that it'll be a poor move for him. Some saying I can't see it happening. Some laughing at Arsenal, saying everyone's going to come in and bid. At the moment, touch wood, it's looking positive for Arsenal. Now, I'm sure there's going to be other bids coming in for Declan Rice. I'll be amazed if there's not. But why is there not already? Is there an agreement already in place and it's just Arsenal and West Ham haggling about what they can actually do to get this guy? That's what I'm kind of hoping and praying because I really want Declan Rice. Jashar, hope you're well. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Says big up Dan. I don't rate KT as high as some. Don't you think he's fourth choice behind Zini, Tomiyasu, and Kivior? No, I don't. However, does Mikel Arteta believe that he's back up? Because what we've seen, Jashar, is exactly what you're saying. Tomiyasu came in for the Liverpool game ahead of Kieran Tierney when he was fit. Zinchenko got a knock, and we've seen towards the latter stages, Kivior playing in that position as well. So is Kieran Tierney looking at that situation thinking, is there a place for me here? So fair play. I don't know what you don't like about Kieran Tierney's game, but I appreciate and respect your opinion. But I do think he's a decent player. Patrick Big Up says, have we sold Patino? This would be his chance. I don't think Charlie Patino has done enough, in my opinion, to prove that he's good enough right now to take us towards a title or a Champions League as a squad player. I think he needs another loan move, and I think he needs to prove at a high level that he can do it. Now, maybe somebody like Wolves or somebody like Everton or somebody like Palace would be happy to take Charlie Patino on. I think there could be a little bit of a presence issue for him. But apparently he's got a lot of technical ability and Blackpool fans are really happy with him. I think when Mick McCarthy came in, it went a bit tits up for the lad, but I quite like Charlie Patino. Mr. Waffle, Dan, if we sign 5 players this window, who are you choosing? My 5 signings, for only 5. If I could have a perfect window, those 5 players would be Declan Rice, Moises Caicedo, James Maddison, Mark Guehi, and Musa Diaby. There we go. That's what I would go with. Looks like Madison's going Newcastle. So if that one's not going to happen, I'll go for Javi Simmons. I would go over Havertz. I think that for me would be one that would get me more excited, to be fair. I've missed out some of your questions, so apologies. I couldn't keep up with the chat in time. But I think we are going to leave it there. Unless I've seen one. No, I've got one here. Here we go. Daniela again. How you doing, Daniela? West Ham are going to agree to Rice deal till they speak to him when he comes back from England duty. There we go. There might be something that's going to happen. It might be something that is going to happen. But I personally feel like it is not done. I think that there could be another bid coming in, and we might just have to try and compete with either that be Man City, Manchester United, or abroad, whatever it be. I think he wants Arsenal. From what we know, our sources tell us that he seems quite happy to come to Arsenal. Deal's been agreed for his personal terms. It's now talking about how we can get it over the line. So let's hope that Arsenal can do that. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Make sure you do me a favor, smash a like on your way out, subscribe if you're new. We're going to be here every single night at 10 p.m. and I'm going to try and do 2 shows a day as of next week. get some of the guys on and talk about some of the other clubs involved as well. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. Smash a like on your way out. See you next time on Up the Arsenal. Take care, people.